Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video. I actually just got done recording another video for my Brawlhalla series. You'll be seeing that video I think before. Is it gonna be before this one? Let me check my scheduled videos real quick on my YouTube. Cause what I'm trying to do right now, I'm trying to bulk record a lot of these. So I'm gonna be seeing that a lot of these videos. I'm trying to get ahead, pretty much, is what I'm trying to do here. Let me see. Sorry, I'm checking this out real quick. But yeah, so while I'm checking this out, today I'm going to be drawing Drowsy, the 96 Pokemon, I believe, on the Pokédex. Yeah, I'm almost at 100, which is an accomplishment, I tell you. 'Cause drawing every single day, I mean, it's not hard, to be honest with you, because I make time. You make time for what you want. So for me, it's not all that hard, but it's hard in terms of like just finding the time to do it all is all. Because I think we all got pretty busy schedules, and for me, thankfully I'm able to make my own schedule. But yeah, so Drowsy, so I'm drawing, and I'm gonna be using paint in this one. It came out pretty decent. I don't think this is my best Pokemon drawing, but it was definitely a good one. And let me see, Drowsy is number, let's see, yep, number 96. I was correct. A little bit about Drowsy, if you don't know it, I'll just kind of ramble this off. It remembers every dream it eats. It rarely eats the dreams of adults because children's are much tastier. That's a little weird. The height is 3 feet 3 inches, 71 pounds. Can be neither male or female. And it's a psychic type Pokemon. Yeah, so that's just a little bit about Drowsy, the Pokemon that I'm drawing. If you've never seen Pokemon, you really gotta watch it. Or if you didn't grow up with it, a little bit sad for you, because honestly it was a great show. Especially for me, I used to watch it on what is it, Kids WB, I believe is what it was. Maybe PBS. No, not PBS Kids. PBS Kids was something different. But yeah, Kids WB is what it was, I believe. It was on like one of the basic channels, like one of the channels that before 10, like I think it was like 7 or 6 or something like that. I forget. But yeah, so what I wanted to talk about in this particular video is just balancing social media with the creative life. And what I mean by that, I'll kind of get more into details about this, but for me, what I've noticed is that when it comes to drawing content is something that you have to, or at least for me, I have to do it daily in order to feel like I'm making progress. And I don't necessarily have to do that, but I like to post daily on like Instagram. On YouTube, I don't post daily as of right now, but what I think I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start making one short video, one YouTube short every day on YouTube, and then I'll post the rest on Instagram. And I'm gonna try to make it to where it's a unique YouTube short one, so it's not something you can find on like my my Instagram. But yeah, but balancing social media with the creative life. So when it comes to creating like artwork and all that, it's hard to not fall into the trap of constant posting and constantly being on social media and looking for that validation. It's hard to not fall into that, but also to still have that presence, have that what's the word I'm looking for? Have that image, I guess, that you're constantly creating, Because for me, it's not hard finding inspiration to draw, honestly. Like Pinterest is my best friend. I call Pinterest my wife, because Pinterest, man, I found so much inspiration on there. and I draw so many things from Pinterest that, like fan art and stuff like that. Just things I find, I try to draw it, and a lot of times I'm not good at it. Like there's a lot of stuff that I haven't posted because it's terrible, and it's just a sketch or whatever, and it's a terrible sketch. But for the things that I do find that I'm like, oh, okay, this is decent, I'll post it on Instagram. It's not the best thing, not the best drawn thing at all, but it is something, like it's showing that I'm trying every day to get better and that I'm consistently trying to improve my artwork. So, yeah, I think me showing that process kind of gives people a better idea of what I'm trying to get accomplished here. And, but yeah, just finding that balance of not always being on social media like I have been and trying to still create in a way that is meaningful to me and that is, that's not like, just some AI mumbo jumbo, because I do see some creators that do, um, you know, it's your definition of what a creator is. But some people that post like AI art and they do it consistently, and but some people say it's not real art. It is what it is. Whatever your thoughts on it is, it's whatever. For me personally, I don't like AI art in terms of like I don't like if you didn't draw it yourself. I just I'm like okay, when you put in the prompt, AI did it. It is what it is. I wouldn't call you necessarily an artist though, but yeah. So yeah, it's interesting when it comes to trying to balance that whole social media thing and with creating art, because a lot of artists that I follow, I actually recently unfollowed a lot of artists just because I was starting to realize, like I said, that I was just on social media too much. I was on YouTube too much, and even still now, I'm still yeah. But even now, I'm still constantly on social media, constantly looking at it, looking at the numbers and all that, and it's not something that I want to do. So I gotta make sure that I'm being mindful of that. And since I don't want to do it, I'm not gonna try to do it. So yeah, just something to work on. I think that's really all I want to say when it comes to that. And I guess the next subject that I'll kind of get into, let's see, looking at this list. Oh, I guess it's kind of unrelated to what I just talked about, but one thing that I think I talked about this before, but one thing I talked about was Gary V. Gary V. He was not a big inspiration, but just some motivation when it comes to like posting consistently on social media and showing my process. Because for a long time I was scared of it, and I was scared of being judged and all that stuff. But then I realized that nobody really cares. Like if people don't like it, they're not gonna worry about the content you're putting out. If they care about it, they'll worry about it. But yeah, Gary V. One thing I took from him was just being able to take pieces of advice from different places. So not only taking advice just from one specific place. If you only take advice from one place, that advice is going to become stale. It's going to not be, not always be the best advice. Because if you think about it, if you only take advice from one place, can you imagine like what kind of person you would be? Like even like the Bible, right? Like I'm not a very religious person, but the Bible, it's a big religion, so that's why I'm going to use it as an example. If you only took advice from the Bible and that is the only thing that you took advice from, how would your life be? Some people will say that, oh, the Bible has everything, so of course, allow me to it'll afford me the opportunity and the morality and all that to be everything I need to be in life. It's like, does it though? Like, does it? Everything, everything's in the Bible, right? Apparently, I've never read the Bible. Maybe I should, just to kind of see, um, kind of what advice it gives on a lot of stuff. But yeah, I don't think there's one book that contains everything, every information that you need. And if there is one, I haven't found it, at least yet. So, but yeah, I think it's important just to take advice from a lot of different resources, not just one book, not just one religion, not just one individual, not just one place, whatever one, insert whatever here. And I don't think you should ever put your all into that. And for myself, I will say that I do sometimes lose my authentic self, and I end up being this too serious of a person when what comes naturally to me personally is like being goofy. And I know you may be thinking like, where did that come from? What do you mean? But I just mean like, if I was only a one-faced person, because all people are multifaceted human beings, so everybody has different sides of them. I think I kind of talked about this in a previous video, but I'll kind of say it again, where depending on who I'm around, I'm a different person. So with some people I'm more sarcastic because I know they get sarcasm. With other people I'm more goofy and more like, playful. And then with other people I'm a little more serious, because I know that they don't take maybe humor all that well, or whatever it may be, so I'm different versions of myself, and they're all authentically me. It's just different versions is all. And what I've come to find out about myself is that black people call it code switching. So, and that depends on who you're around. But for me, I just call it being different versions of my authentic self. So I'm the same person, have the same thoughts, all that stuff, just that it's a different version. Like, one is more toned down, one is more thoughtful, one is more serious, one is more goofy. And it just all depends on whom I'm around at the time. Whom I'm around. That's an old word right there. It's a word in the Bible for you. He who shall... Yeah, I'm not going to finish that because I don't know any scriptures. So, but I guess that kind of goes into like my third subject here of what does it mean to really be yourself? And that depends on the person. Like, that depends on the people who define that. Only you know what is truly you. Like, for me, I know what is truly me. And I know that I have different sides of myself. I'm not just one thing. Like, and that includes hobbies too. Like, I have a lot of hobbies. I have a lot of interests. I have a lot of personalities. Not that I'm like a schizophrenic or anything, but just personality types. Like, if you saw me in one environment, and you saw me in a different environment, I may be two different personalities. It may be like, oh, it's the same person, you're still yourself, but it's just a different side of the same person is all. So yeah, but to figure out what really makes you you got to kind of define that for yourself. And for me, I've had to learn that I am a complex individual. So just as we all are, I'm not a unique in this respect. We all are unique individuals, and we all have multiple sides of us. We all have multiple interests. We are just like we're all just a compilation of just a whole bunch of stuff that we find fascinating. And we could put it in different categories, and a lot of times I like to know like what somebody's like when they're by themselves. Because, like, for me, when I'm by myself, I talk to myself a lot more, kind of like what I'm doing now. I'm talking to myself on a microphone, nobody around. But these are kind of the thoughts that go through my head. So I'm able to be more unfiltered and be more authentic when it comes to these voiceovers. But but I'm still not fooling myself. I'll tell you that, because there are some things that I think that I know would just be misconstrued if I said it, or it just wouldn't seem right without context. And I don't feel like giving context to every single thing that I'm talking about. So that's why a lot of things I'll keep to myself, and I'll just write it down like in a journal. Write it, write a more long form content for myself, and that I never share with the world, just because that's only for me. And you should not always share everything with the world. Don't get me wrong, I'll share a lot, but there are things that I'm going to keep for myself. Like, even like if I ever get into a relationship, I'm not in a relationship right now, but if I ever get into a relationship, likely I would never talk about that. And it's not because I'll be embarrassed to be in a relationship, or I'm embarrassed of the person I'm with. It's just, it's none of people's business. That's as simple as it is. And some women, they may have a problem with that, because a lot of women, they like to be shown off, and whether that be on social media or in person or whatever. And I'm fine with showing my woman off. Like, that's not a problem, especially like in public. Like, I'm more than happy to be with her, hold her hand, just be around her, and I'm not afraid of that per se. Um, but yeah, I just don't feel like it's anybody's business online, like who I'm dating or anything like that. Uh, but yeah, so that's just one other thing. Let me see. That I'm I'm reading all these ideas I have for YouTube videos on my notes here. And yeah, some of the things I'm actually repeating again. So yeah, that's something I got to be mindful of. Scared to be judged is what I wrote down here. So I guess I'll talk a little bit about that real quick while we have a little less than 10 minutes left of this video. But yeah, being scared to be judged. It's one of my biggest fears. I know that, like, especially not having a favorable judgment, I guess you could say, from other people. I struggle with this quite a bit, because I'm always thinking about what other people think about me, and it's something that I gotta fight against all the time. And it's something that, like, I'm pretty sure I talked about this before. I'm like 99% sure I talked about it. But yeah, like, when I was in school, right, I was scared of being judged for being too smart, because I was scared I was gonna be called a nerd, and I would be ostracized and made fun of for being smart, right? Again, this is not me saying I'm the smartest individual. It's just me saying that I was cognizant of the fact that I was interested in nerdy things, like science, like math, like anime, like cartoons, like video games, all of the nerdy stuff that people like, the quote unquote nerdy stuff. Funny thing is, though, nowadays a lot of people won't even judge you for that. Like, oh, that's cool, you like anime, that's awesome, and you like video games, and oh, you like art, and that it seems like childish things, but it's like, it's more socially acceptable now when it comes to adults. So some people say adults, sometimes I say adults. It just depends on how I feel that day. So don't judge me on the way I say adults. But yeah, so just being scared of being judged, like, that's one of my, I think that's one of everybody's fear, is being scared of being judged, and not being, especially not being accepted for who you are as an individual. And I think that's the real fear behind me being judged, is that me not being accepted for who I am as a person. and me not being quote unquote enough for people. When in actuality, you being enough for yourself is like one of the ultimate ideals of life. You shouldn't have to always want to be accepted by others. It's a motorcycle. Hopefully you didn't hear that. But if you did, I apologize for that loud noise. Yeah, so yeah, being able to accept yourself, I think, is something that a lot of people just aren't. I don't know if they're not cognizant of it, or they're not aware of it, or they just don't want to, or whatever it may be. Or maybe they're not able to because they just have so much baggage when it comes to just life that it's hard to love themselves. Which for me, it was hard for me for a long time. And now I realize that, okay, I can love myself and still be an authentic and humble individual. You don't have to love yourself and be all this braggadocious and cocky and all these things that sometimes I see on social media or online, where people think that they have to be this like macho version of themselves. It's like, you don't have to be that. You can be confident in yourself, love yourself and all that, but still be a humble individual, which I think is, for me, that's more the approach I'm taking in life, of is loving yourself, being confident, loving myself, being confident in myself, but also being a humble individual, making sure that I'm not being this brash, like braggadocious individual. Sometimes it's okay to do that, in certain circumstances, but for the most part, for me, like, I like being like the humble individual, the quiet individual, the quiet confidence type of thing, where people know you're confident, that you kind of have that aura around you, but you don't have to talk about it. You don't have to act like you are that. So that's something that I hope that people are able to do more often, because I don't think it's something that a lot of people do, or maybe they do. Maybe I'm wrong. But for me, especially though, I know for me, it's something that for a long time I was scared of being confident, if that makes sense. And you may ask, why are you scared of being confident? Well, I'm scared of being confident because I don't want to come off as like a cocky individual, or like somebody who thinks too highly of themselves. Because we know those people that they think way too highly of themselves. Because there's a balance where you're confident, and everything in life's a balance. It's not just confidence, it's anything. Whether it be eating food, getting healthy, there's a balance to everything. Sometimes, quote unquote, balance is less than like you would think. Like, for instance, like alcohol, right? Alcohol in general is bad for your health. But there is a balance for a lot of people, where if you drink occasionally, like for me, I only drink on special occasions. And so it's very rare that I drink. I don't drink every weekend like I used to. I used to do that in my 20s. I don't do that now. I could if I wanted to, but it's just not something that interests me as all. But yeah, but there's a balance for it. Like the balance for alcohol is different than the balance of like confidence. Because confidence, you want more confidence, of course. You just don't want to be too confident, as in the cockiness, the bragginess, the overbearing, like what is it? Just constantly upping yourself, like it gets annoying to, and maybe I'm wrong for that. Maybe I am wrong, in terms of like how confident you should be, because for everybody's different. For me, the way that I want to be with my confidence, just have a quiet confidence, not be the braggadocious type and all that. And for some, they may be okay with that. And I'm like, hey, to each their own, just you know, just being cognizant of it, being aware of it. But yeah, I'm kind of rambling now because I'm coming to the end of the video, trying to fill all this space. But I'll let the rest of the video play out, and then other than that, I'll talk to y'all next time.